one's coming to save you. So what are you gonna do about it? Raw Minds on men's mental health. Hosted by Erick. For the ones we never meet.
At 12 years old, Lawrence was not thinking about becoming a speaker. He was trying to survive an abusive home and protect his siblings. While other kids were learning who they were, Lawrence was learning how to stay alert. He was living with autism, loneliness, low self-worth, and the wounds he would later understand as complex PTSD. But Lawrence refused to let his childhood write the ending. He went from working at McDonald's to speaking in schools, churches, and mental health organizations. At only 18, he published Power to the People, a book about taking back control of your mind, your habits, and your money and the future. But this conversation goes deeper than success. After our first private conversation, Lawrence did something most people twice his age refused to do. He looked at himself honestly and admitted that some of his own selfish behaviors and unhealthy thinking had affected his ability to love people and give them the attention they deserve. That is what real growth starts. Trauma may explain your behavior, but it does not give you the permission to keep on hurting people. Today, we will be talking about childhood abuse, autism, complex PTSD, loneliness, accountability, love, and what happens when a young man stops hiding from both his pain and himself. In this conversation, if this conversation hits you, share it with someone who needs it. Follow Raw Minds and tell us in the comments what part of focused you look at your own life. I just want to say, first off, thank you, Lawrence, for coming to Raw Minds. You are definitely an inspiration to the youth. I have to say, I've been watching your videos, man, and it's amazing what you're doing, especially at a young age, man. You found your calling, and I'm jealous, to be honest with you, man. I'm 42 and I've just found it. You know what I mean? So good for you, man. I just want to say, like, I don't even know you, man, but I'm proud of you and what you're doing for the community.
Thank you. And that was an amazing introduction.
Thank you, man.
Just for a little bit of context, I'm 20, so I'm literally 1 year more than half your age.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. So I like to get all my guests to start off if they can plug where people can get at you and, check out your content. And you're a coach as well, so I forgot to say that too. So people can even sign up or even take a free, you have a free consultation or something, right? Exactly. Yeah. So if you could please tell us.
All of my stuff, my social media, my YouTube videos where I make videos about the stuff we're going to talk about today, Lawrence C. Empowers. You can find me very easily. My website, lawrencecharris.com, is where I write books. I do coaching. I have journal ebooks people could get, audiobooks, anything that could help a teen or young adult based on my lived experience. I've made a book on it. You can find them on my website.
And
if you're looking to contact me, you can contact me through LinkedIn for business-related things such as, hey, Lawrence, I want you to come speak at my school or come on my podcast. You can email me as well at lawrence@lawrencecharris.com for business-related things. Respectfully, if you come on my email and you're just being obnoxious, you will be blocked.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, and I want to put on there too. So you got your YouTube, right, where people can see your videos and stuff. And then also we have your Instagram as well. And if for some reason it's not showing on the screen, but anyway, it'll be in the description. All this stuff will be in. Weird. It says, I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Riverside. It just popped up at the top. But we'll keep on going.
That might be the
we
thing.
Are definitely have. There we go. Okay, well, to start off, before the speaker, before the book, and before the confidence, who was Lawrence Harris at 12 years old?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, when I was 12, I started going through childhood abuse. And prior to that, I didn't really have friends because I have autism. So socializing with people, understanding all of these hidden rules on what is and is not okay was a huge challenge for me. So I felt it's hard to put into words. It's like a feeling of being on an island by yourself and you're looking out at everyone else and they seem to have the game figured out while you're over here trying to figure out, how do I keep my siblings safe? How do I be a man? How do I navigate school and puberty and relationships and just life? How do I feel happy again? That's what it felt like at 12 years old.
Yeah, and that's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. And then a lot of people that don't know, that's never really had like, abusive relationships with like their either mom or dad, is that, this is supposed to be your hero. This is supposed to be the person that's supposed to protect you, the person that's supposed to save you, the person, that you look up to, and when
Yeah.
that person turns, and like my dad was very abusive, it'd be like someone wearing a mask of my dad's face, but it's not my dad, when he would be drinking, and like,
Yeah, and
so yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
and one of the things that like you brought up that I want people to know is it's one thing if like a stranger does something to you or they hurt you in some way. That's a stranger, that's somebody who is kind of distant from me. Whereas when it's a family member or a parent, it alters the way that you see everyone. Because if your parent can hurt you, that means everyone can hurt you. And if
Hmm.
everyone could hurt me, I'm not going to trust a single soul, no matter how good they look. Because if your parent can do it, anyone can do it. So you withdraw yourself from everyone and everything.
That's so true. It's so true. And then you grow up with that trauma, and that also affects your relationships, not just only in like a lovable relationship, but also with friendships, and
Yeah.
all that. And and that's why you need to address these things and talk to people. That's why I think everybody should at least have a counselor or a coach or someone that they need to talk to, because you need to be able to vent and get this shit off your chest, because then you're just
Yeah.
holding it.
Because
Um,
if you don't, it's like you know that the person in front of you didn't hurt you. You know that the person in front of you had nothing to do with what you went through. But you're still running on that same software from when you were a kid. So you think that they might do something. So you're on guard with everyone.
mhm.
And if you don't get it off your chest, it's going to show up sooner or later in ways that you would never expect.
Definitely. And so you're at 12 years old. So like, what did survival mode even look like to you? Because like, you're taking care of your siblings, plus you're trying to go to school at the same time and juggling all this stuff. Like, what did that really look like for you?
Well, one of the things that like I look back on, I'm kind of surprised I'm still alive from this. I could barely sleep. Like, let's say someone just like walked past me, I would jolt awake and kind of lunge at that person because I thought they were going to do something first.
Yeah.
Or if I was doing a school test or I'm at school or focused on whatever else, the only thing I'm thinking about is, are my siblings safe? So naturally, I started failing most of my classes because I wasn't mentally there enough to even do the work. And any and everything could set me off. Like if I saw a car that looked like his car drive past, if I heard someone talk about him, I'm having these random flashbacks out of nowhere every time I go outside. It was just room filthy, paranoid all the time, trying to, I guess, survive is the only word that explains it. It's like you're not living, your heart is beating, but it's
Yeah.
beating a million miles an hour and you're not there.
So like, going through all of this, right? At a young age, and like going through your years, what part, like, when did you really realize that like this was really, I would say, maybe like was abusive and not really disciplined? Like, when did it really kick in? Like, because like me at a young age, and like being an 80s baby, I would get my lickings. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to go. My dad used to go and make me go get what he was gonna beat me with. I came back one time with a little soup spoon, and it was the worst fucking beating I've ever got in my life. And it was more or less abuse than really discipline at that point, because he was just doing it when he was drunk, and just, you know what I mean? But like, for you, when did you really realize like that it became abusive and not discipline?
I would probably say like very early in turning 13 years old, because at 12, my thought process was like, maybe there's something I'm doing. Maybe somehow like I did something, but thanks to my therapist and like, her explain like, no, you're not, you didn't do anything. You're me working on cause what happened was I was working on a school project, like
Hmm.
on my phone, and my mom was calling me to like just try and check in, like, hey, are you all right? prior to him becoming abusive. Like, this was the day it first happened. And it's like, hey, I'm just trying to call and check on you. But I'm declining the calls. My aunt starts calling me because both her and my mom's like, Lawrence never declines our calls. There must be something going on. His wife gets mad and starts saying how, oh, he must be talking to his mom in my house. And she goes in this whole like tangent and then he blacks my eye. So that was the first time this happened. And in that moment, you're a child. You're not really thinking anything. You're trying to figure out what's going on.
What did I do
So
wrong?
as I started going to therapy and like explaining what happened, my therapist was like, no, that's not discipline. That is absolute abuse. Like, that is, you did nothing wrong. Discipline is I don't know, you did something you knew you weren't supposed to, so they gave like a spanking or something.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
discipline. But
Yeah.
when people are leaving you with bruises and wounds and they're using objects on you, that's a crime.
Yeah, especially the people that you love and trust, and that
Yeah.
are supposed to be your protectors. So after like that, like when was like the turning point where, you started really working on yourself, man? Because like I'm so impressed. Like I really am, like for me it took until I was, God, probably about 38, man, to really, really do the work on myself. You know what I mean? So like I'm very impressed, man. I'm very proud of you. Like you found your calling, right? Like I said at the beginning, you know what I mean? So like what was that turning point? Like was it like the therapy over going to therapy and then you just wanted to turn around and start helping people? Like how did that all aspire?
Well, the work came about in sections. So early on, from like 12 to 14, therapy was just to get me to like back to like a baseline of normalcy, like being able to function outside. Then the COVID pandemic hits, which at 13 years old, he also kicked me out of his house. So then I no longer had to go there, which was, a challenge in of itself, but also a blessing in disguise. But once COVID happened, now I'm living with my mom full time for about 2-ish years straight. And during that time period, I'm locked in a house 24/7 with myself, essentially. And I was noticing my family would start telling me like how I was treating them and how I was taking my problems out on them. And like, Lawrence, we understand what happened with your dad, and we understand how like you're grieving and you're dealing with all these things, but you cannot keep taking this out on us. Like, we're trying to help you and you're mad at us for something we didn't do to you.
I call it
So-
emotional punching bag.
Yeah. And in my head at the time, like 14-year-old Lawrence, I was thinking like, no, you guys don't understand. And I had it worse than you. And all the sacrifice I made to keep you safe. And I was going through it. And as time went on, once I hit 15 years old and I just like literally looked in my bathroom mirror and got honest with myself about here's my life. Like, here's how I'm treating people. Here's how I'm treating myself. Here is what I'm doing. Here's the music I'm listening to, the shows I'm watching. Here's my habits. Like, this is my life right now. And I cannot blame anyone for my behavior. I can blame people for what they did to me, but I can't blame them for how I'm treating other people. So I broke down and started crying and realized that if I want to be a good big brother, if I want to be a good son to my mom, if I want to treat myself good, if I want to be a good boyfriend, I have to do the work. Like, I have to get on with myself. I have to look at everything. I have to journal, pray, meditate, do whatever it takes. And over the span of years of doing a lot of work, things got better. And, this is me now.
And you were 15 at the time of like realizing this, correct?
Yeah. When I first started,
that's wild to
like,
me, bro.
The deeper I got into it, the more it became apparent that I am not just doing this for myself, but I'm doing it for the betterment of everyone around me. Because the problems we don't deal with, we start taking it out on people who don't deserve it. And eventually you can get to a point where you're taking your pain out on other people so much that the people who love you leave your life because you won't let them help you. And I had a few people who that ended up happening with, and I realized that I can't keep blaming my past. I have to change myself to change my future.
Well, and especially as men too, right? Like that's where, like, especially like back in the day, my age, and people that are older than me, that's what we were taught is, suck it up. You're depressed, no big deal. Like, get over it. Hide your feelings inside. You're a man. Be a man. And that's how I was. But like, I could never see myself, doing that work really on myself at that young age because I was so lost. I was involved in the gangs and all that shit, doing stupid shit, just trying
Yeah.
to find family, really, because I came from a broken home, right? And I was looking for that belonging, and I found it in a group of people that wasn't really family. We're just all broken people came together and made a little, and that's what it was. And as sad as it is, that's the truth, right? But like, I'm so impressed, man. I really am so impressed. And I want to tell everybody out there that's listening, like, this young man here is 15 years old and realize this and fix himself. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 90 years old, and it's never too late or too early to really put in that work and fix yourself. And look, you're thriving right now, bro. You're thriving. Like, I see this guy's on my social media, and it's just posts of him just thriving and just killing it at life, man. I'm
Thank
very
you.
honestly, it's true. I'm just speaking the truth. You know what I mean?
And
And it shows. Like, you've put the work in. You've gone through. I don't care what anybody says. Child trauma is the worst, especially when it comes from your own family. You put that work in, and I mean, you're always going to be working on yourself. Let's face it, right? We're
oh
always
yeah,
working on ourselves.
like
But
nobody
I mean,
perfect.
no, man. But I mean, like, I'm just comparing myself and what I went through, and like kind of what you went through, and kind of like the same, abusive fathers. But you right away, man, tackled that shit, and my hat goes off to you, brother. Like, that's very impressive, man. And I
Thank
hope
you. I
I
mean,
hope you change the world one day, man, for what you're doing, man. I really do.
I appreciate that. I mean, because at 15, I don't think I sat down and had some like deep, full on
Yeah,
like full knowingness of it. It was more of a pattern recognition
yeah. But you
that
planted that
if
seed, right? You know what I
yeah, like
mean?
if I
To where
keep
you
waking
are.
up every day doing what
Yeah,
I've been doing so far, I'm going to keep getting something that I don't want.
yeah,
So it's kind of like if you want to change the meal, you have to change the ingredients.
yeah.
And that process came about with the help of a lot of people, a lot of different books and learning different things and practicing and not giving in to the easier path of
Mhm.
just blaming everyone else. And a lot of sacrifices were
Mhm.
made.
Well, you're a buffalo, man. I don't know if you know what about the
Yeah, they
buffalo, but
run
you're a
into
buffalo.
storms.
Yeah, man, and that's what you did, right? And I everybody should be a buffalo, right? If you guys don't know about a buffalo, is every other animal, if there's a storm, the animal runs away from the storm, right? Eventually that storm's gonna catch up with them and soak them and maybe electrocuted from the lightning. Who knows, right? Fuck, who knows? But anyways, but buffaloes, they run into the storm because the faster they go through the storm, the faster it's going to be light on the other side, and happiness and all whatever green grass or whatever, you know what I mean? But that's
Yeah.
what it is, be a fucking buffalo, right? And that's what
There's
you
also
were,
the
man.
fact that, like, if I think I realized this thing around 17 years old, where if you never felt sad, you never feel happy. And what is life without feeling both sides? Like, the happiest people are the ones who felt the saddest because they have something to compare it to.
Yeah, definitely.
And in a sense, you start to become not, I wouldn't say the word is glad. I'd say it's more so you can look at your past with a sense of gratitude
Yeah.
because had I not gone through everything I went through, I would have probably never did that kind of inner work, which would have led me to never becoming, a public speaker and making YouTube
Yeah.
videos and coaching people and doing all the things that I do to help humanity.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, like the first time that we talked, I'm like, I told you too, like, no regrets, man. I have no regrets in my life because it put me in this seat today, where I am today, the host of Raw Minds, having wonderful guests like you, and I got wicked people watching, like Jason, I see over there on TikTok, or I'm pointing at the other screen, but you know what I mean? And it's just, it put me in this place, So how can you have regrets? Yeah, maybe shitty things happen. You've done things or you wish, but you can't regret, because every decision you make in your life is putting you to the path of where you are today, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. 100%.
And it's kind of difficult sometimes to remember that because, you know, as you get older and it's weird I say as you get older because I'm literally 20. But the point is this: we've all done something that we look back on and go, I hurt that person's feelings. I was taking my pain out on a person who didn't deserve it. And that person's probably never going to get an apology. I may have committed a crime. I did some things I'm not proud of, but you can't change the past. You just learn from it and you make wiser decisions moving forward.
Yeah, and take a lesson. Like, find the lesson, find the silver lining in this. Instead of saying like, "Oh, poor me," why is this happening to me? Instead of why is this, like, find the reason. Like, what is it trying to teach me in this? Like, what is
Yeah.
the lesson in this that's trying to teach me? I do want to say, can you explain, because you say you have PTSD, right? The complex
Yeah.
PTSD. So how did that come to play? Like, how does that, when you really realized that you had that, and how did that affect you?
So the easiest way that I can explain it to someone who either doesn't have it or isn't familiar with it, your entire nervous system is like rewired. So the feeling of being on edge, you feel it pretty much 24/7. Like, you could be walking down the street and you are calculating everything that could go wrong. I can remember as a child, when I was like in my teens, I would go to a restaurant and I would sit near a door just in case something happened. Nothing ever happened, but just in case it did, I would sleep and like avoid bunk beds because that was something that would like trigger my thoughts. When I was outside, I was like hyper observant of everyone and everything. I was afraid of like emotionally opening up. And the hardest part about it is when you have these flashbacks of you are re-experiencing what you went through. Like, you are mentally, physically, and emotionally reliving it inside of your head over and over and over. And it's one of those things where you can get medicated for it, but there's also a lot of side effects to that medication. So what I had to do was get something called cognitive behavioral therapy, where it teaches you how to be aware of your thoughts, be aware of how you react to things, and make healthier decisions. Then I did a lot of work, rewire how my brain works so I could feel normal again. So it's like you have to learn how to feel safe again.
See, I speak about this, and a lot of my listeners that listen, they know I have also PTSD. Well, used to have it. It comes back once in a blue moon, but it was because of meat. And I think we had this conversation before. I got forced to eat meat when I was 5 years old, and it psychologically messed up my head. Yeah, and I was puking, right? So it can come in different sizes. There's people coming from war. There's abusive relationships. Like, PTSD can come from anything, from dogs. Anything. So it's very important too, like you said, speaking to a counselor, attacking those things, because it can really take over your life. It really can. And it's about taking your power back and saying, no, this is my life. Like I said in the intro of how you did, you took over. You're not going to let your childhood determine who you are. And it's about that and doing those things. And what you, once again, what you did, man, is I'm very proud of you, brother. It's very, I'm blown away, man. I really am blown away, bro. You're gonna do great things, man. You are at just this young age, man. You're already killing it. Like I said, I'll boost the shit out of you, man. Like, you guys got to check out his videos, man. He speaks real truth, and it's just inspiring, especially at his age. And you're going to the schools and talking about this shit. So it's your peers can see these things too. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, like when I was in high school, we would have these people come in and they'd be talking about things like mental health awareness and, healthy relationships and whatnot. And some of them were really good at it. Like, there were a few who were like really good. Like, we actually learned something. But there were a lot who were boring, or the information they were sharing just didn't resonate. Like, okay, you're telling me about something, but tell me, what have you been through? Like, what makes you qualified to tell me about mental health?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you might have a degree in this, you might be certified in it, but like, I want to know about you. So I go in there and I tell them, hey, here's me, here what I went through, here what I dealt with, and here's what helped me. And it could help you too.
And you're being vulnerable too, which is awesome,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I'm all about right here is like being vulnerable. If you're showing someone, that it's safe and being vulnerable, you're opening that door for them to be safe, and it's an exchange of vulnerability, safeness, I guess, without judgment.
Yeah. And there's a balance to it where you don't want to like, trauma dump on people,
Yeah,
but you want to just like say, hey, here what I went through and here's how it
yeah,
made me feel. And then move on to like, okay, now here's the bright side of this,
yeah,
because it's really easy for us to like, stay stuck in the pain of like how bad it was and how we were just so low. But we want to make sure people see like okay, now here's how we can get better. We want them to know that too.
yeah.
And
And
I
that's
make
what
it
I do
super
here on Raw
simple.
Minds. That's what we do here in Raw Minds. Like we started off of who you are, right? And that's what I like to show people. And speaking of that, man, like so what came first? Like the coaching, because you're a coach. What came first? So the coaching or the book? Like how did that all
Like
come into play?
the very first thing I started doing was I just hopped on YouTube and started making TikToks and videos. And my first videos were mess. It was
Mine
a
too.
whole
Don't
lot
worry
of
about it, brother.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the audio was terrible, the wind, the lighting, the
Probably
camera quality
cameras, like
sucked. Like
yeah.
it was a mess. But that's the funny thing where like you have to be willing to look like a fool before you look good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you
You're
got
learning,
people.
right? You're
Yeah, because
learning.
I barely like when I was 15, I first started making videos and talking about this stuff. I didn't really know much, but I knew that I couldn't get you from A to Z, but I could get you from A to B. Like
But
I
you
could
have
get
the
you from
life
like
experiences. Sorry to cut you, but you have those, and that's what a lot of people like. You can go to school all you want, read every fucking book in this world, but if you don't have those life experiences, you really don't really know. And
yeah,
you have those life experiences. So you can teach from what you went through and what you've learned. To better your life, and that's what you're doing. I just
yeah.
wanted to say that.
Thank you. And I mean, even to this day, the methods I tell people to do are ridiculously simple.
Yeah,
Go start journaling, exercise, and get some hobbies that you enjoy.
yeah, man.
Because a lot of people, and especially a lot of young people, they don't have the money for therapy. Maybe they don't have a trusted adult. Maybe they're afraid to talk to a school guidance counselor. Maybe their parents won't get them therapy or their insurance doesn't cover it. Or therapy is really great if you
Hmm.
can get it. But if you have $5, you can get a notebook and a pen and start writing out how you feel. You get it out your head, you get it on the paper, and it helps you to release it.
You could even just draw pictures too. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
you
even
could
have to
even do
be
like
anything, right?
you could
Whatever,
even do
right?
like
Yeah.
little notes.
Yeah.
And
Stickman, whatever you're feeling that day.
yeah,
I want to touch on something too. And I said this so many times, and I think it changed my life. It really did. And people are be like, "You're an idiot," but no, it really did. It's coloring, man. I bought a bunch of adult coloring books, and I was very depressed, and I would color. I bought some pencil crayons, some really nice pencil crayons, and I colored. And I mean, what it does, if people don't understand, is it takes the focus out of all that noise that's going around in your head, and you focus just on coloring, and you want to make this pretty picture or whatever, stay into the lines, you know what I mean? And what it does is it silences everything and it focus. And that's why
yeah,
hobbies are good, doing something like that, right? Coloring, everybody's like, yeah, sure, whatever, but I mean it worked for me. I'm sitting here right now, man. I was suicidal, and it worked for me. So I'm telling you, like, it may not work for anybody else, but it worked for me, and who knows, man?
yeah. And it's like if you just try different things, eventually you find what worked for you.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
for me, it's been fishing.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
you go spend, you go
Hours.
spend 5, 10, or even just 2 hours sitting
Mhm.
at a lake doing nothing, looking at the water, and you just have a fishing rod and you're just waiting. It calms you down
Yeah. Well, you're
because,
thinking in your head, right? You're having
yeah,
you're yeah.
And you're not even just thinking, you're in the moment.
Yeah.
You're focused on like, because that rod could go down any minute. So you want to be ready. So you're like anticipating it. And eventually you realize that like getting the reward, which is like the fish, isn't the best part. The best part is it could happen any moment now.
Yeah.
And you get like the adrenaline rush of excitement for it.
Yeah, from nothing to like that, right? From
Yeah.
yeah.
And
When
maybe you
when
don't
I
even
meant
catch me.
like, well, when I meant thinking as in like you're sitting back, you're thinking, you're just taking in all the
Oh,
nature is
yeah.
what I mean, like like that, not like everything else. But I mean,
Oh,
thinking is
yeah,
like
because
how beautiful it is, relax. Even if you take your feet, right, your bare feet, put it in the sand or the ground, you're grounding yourself too, and that's energy going through your body, man. So it's just
yeah, and
yeah.
usually when you're out fishing, you'll have like some old man who he comes over and he asks you like, "Hey, what are you fishing for?" And if you let him, he'll tell you his life story.
Usually, man, yeah.
He'll start
Yeah,
telling you about
usually.
how like before his wife passed away, they used to go fishing together, and he's like 85, and he starts telling you like his war stories and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, man, it's a relaxing thing, and it's a
yeah,
beautiful hobby to do. It really is, right? So,
yeah,
but how did the book like? So was it the book or the coaching? And what kind first? And how did you even get into coaching? Like, because you're making these
yeah.
videos.
In order, it went making the videos. Then once I turned 18, I started writing a book. Like I started publishing them on Amazon because you got to be 18 to do it. Then after that, I was like, okay, these videos are really good. The books are really good, but people keep having questions about, okay, Lawrence, but what about this? What about that? Like, I know you said that we need to journal and it's going to help us, but what about my situation? So I was like, all right, guys, pay me $25 and I'll get on a phone call with you and I will talk you through it. Like,
And that's how
because
it started.
yeah, it was like, I'm just trying to answer these questions so that everyone is able to get the most value from my videos. But everyone's like, and then too, when they would ask those questions, I started to think, I didn't think of that. Let me make a video on that subject. So I would make a video about a comment so that I could like explain the point. But then I realized I could probably just get more bang for my buck by offering one-on-one coaching to people.
Yeah. And how long you been doing that now for?
A couple years
Yeah.
where the coaching I give people is not super life changing well, it is life changing, but it's not like super in depth counseling or anything. It's more
Yeah.
like it's mainly for teenagers and young adults. And the thing they usually come with are, Lawrence, I'm feeling insecure. Like, what can I do to start feeling better about myself? I'm stressed out. How do I find some healthy coping skills? I am trying to get this girlfriend or boyfriend, but I feel super nervous because in the past I've gotten rejected a lot and people made fun of me and I got bullied. So like, can you help me to work through these problems? And
That's amazing,
sometimes
man.
it's just like it's a one-time call. Other times
Yeah.
it's like a month-long thing. It
Yeah.
depends on what the person wants.
But yeah, and depending on what's the circumstances and how far they need or help, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just tell people, hey, I'm not qualified to help you with that.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
a hotline to call, or here's a
Yeah.
free mental health resource, because I'm not a counselor. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
certified counselor. I can help you with things that are not major mental health struggles. I can help you with, like, here's what worked for me, but I'm not qualified to give you clinical advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is very, very honorable too, because who knows? I mean, people definitely are at vulnerable points in the system, and there is a lot of predators out there that they
Yeah.
don't care. They want the money, and they will just keep on. You know what I mean? So be very careful who you talk to, too. Definitely, right?
Yeah,
So
because I was gonna like add on to your
yeah,
point
yeah, yeah.
there
No,
that
please, please, please,
there's
please.
there's so many people who not even just in the mental health space, but when you think about like, hey, I'm just gonna make up an example off the top of my head. I'm a struggling single mother of 3 children and rent is due and I need to find like a way to make more money so that me and my children don't become homeless. There are people who will sell you some $1,000 program to try and, I guess, teach you online business, knowing that it won't work for you. And they'll just like take advantage of so many people, and it is twisted.
Very twisted. I see it like all the time. Even especially, I would say especially in like the relationship coaches. Like I used to, because like I went through a huge heartbreak years. I was in my, I think, late 20s, you know, and as someone is heartbroken, you know, I went searching for answers and on YouTube and, you know, all these coaches and stuff. And I really saw, man, like, you know, the difference between good coaches and, you know, just fucking predators that just care about
Yeah.
money, you know, and it was very disgusting actually to see. It's a very clear difference, you know. People just care about the money, and then people actually just care about helping people, you know. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful, definitely, in that.
And
That
when you're desperate, you're not even really thinking about that. You're just like, I feel pain. I want the pain to go away. And people will prey on the pain. Like they will dig you into a deeper hole so that you keep coming back with the money, which is in part why my free stuff is so good, so
Mhm.
that you don't fall victim to the predators. You're like, I
Yeah,
mean, Lawrence gave me
yeah,
better value for free. So imagine how good his paid stuff is.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, man. Exactly. You know what? It fills your bucket, and you're giving back to the community too, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's hard, man. It really is hard. Like for me, I do a little bit of coaching here on the side, and it's hard to even put a price on it sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I want to help people, but at the same time is money. You know, so it's a hard balance for me. For anyways,
Yeah. I
but
mean, for me, because I know like the market that I serve, I went into it knowing that I'm not going to become some millionaire off coaching.
yeah,
Not at all.
yeah,
My goal was like, I just want to keep the lights on. That was the
yeah.
goal there. So $37 for someone who is 16 years old, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. But if you're someone who is working at McDonald's, and I'm using myself an example. When I was 16, I was working at McDonald's and I was also, giving my mom some of the money I had to try and help out with my younger siblings and, all that sort of stuff. So $37 to a 16-year-old or a 17, 18-year-old is, for a lot of them, that's a considerable purchase.
Hmm.
But it's also enough that they see this isn't just some cheap thing and it make
Hmm.
them listen.
Yeah, yeah. I like it, man. Good for you, brother. I kind of want to ask you a hard question,
Go ahead.
if you're okay with it.
Sure.
If your father sat across the room from you right now and he wasn't allowed to interrupt you, what would you finally say to him? You don't have to answer that, but I really want to. I just yeah.
I'd probably say something along the lines of, for whatever reason that you did what you did, I forgive you, but I don't forget.
Hmm.
So I wish you the best in your life.
And I think that's very admirable. I mean, I'm the same way with my dad. You know, my dad put me through hell, put my family through hell. He started a new family, didn't give a shit about us, you know, and he even left me in Scotland for like 5 hours when we went on to a trip because we connected again. And he got mad at me for something. I was driving. He got mad at me, I guess. I think it was going the wrong way or something. And then he hopped out of the car and they literally left me. I had my like I was scared, man, to be honest with you. I'm in Scotland. My phone had no reception. We were over at St. Andrews. There was no reception over there. His wife had the keys to the car. You know, I'm stuck by myself. I don't know where these people are. Well, my dad, you know what I mean? Like, he put me through hell.
Yeah.
But, you know, I forgave him because he only knew, I guess, how to be a dad because of generational trauma. His dad was very mean, old man. You know, he was in
Mhm.
the war and all that, and his
Yeah.
great grandpa, you know, and then his brothers too kind of fell down that line as well. You know what I mean? And it kind of
Yeah.
generational. So, you know, I blamed him for it, but I didn't at the same time, you know, like, so, you know, it's just because it happened to you doesn't mean it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to
Yeah.
take care of that. You know what I mean? And he
And
didn't, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, that's what he knew, you know, growing up, that abusive and stuff, right? So
yeah, I
like
think,
you said, well, I just said like I apologize to him, you know, like not to him personally, like I forgive him, but I like exactly I don't forget what he's done to the family. That doesn't
yeah.
mean that I want to go hang out with him and go have those days. No, I stay far from him now. You know, it's toxic. I have a little girl that I want to keep safe, but at that time, you know, And when you're forgiving someone, it's for you. It's not even for the other people, as people don't understand. It's for you to get that weight off of your shoulders. You can even just write it down and burn it after. You know what I
I've
mean?
actually
It's for
done
you.
that with multiple people before.
Yeah, man. And it's a release. It's a release.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're
I
gonna
was
say
gonna
something.
say that, like, sometimes, because something you mentioned that is probably gonna help a lot of people if they sit down and, like, try it, is the person who hurts you the most, whether you know what they went through when they were younger or not, simply remind yourself that they became this way for some reason. Maybe they grew up and they saw mom and dad hitting each other, so without even knowing it, they're operating off of their childhood trauma, which is why they're putting hands on their part. It doesn't excuse the behavior. It's not to say that, like, because they went through something, they're innocent. No, it's not to say they're innocent. It's just to say that they're this way for a reason. They must have gone through something. They may have had a untreated mental health problem. They may have some, like, addiction you don't know about, which caused them to hurt you, which again doesn't excuse them of what they did. It's just, in order to release that hatred you have towards somebody, it's a lot easier to do it when you separate the emotion from the event. And what I found is the best way to do it is reminding yourself that even if you don't know why they're that way, they went through something to make them that way.
Exactly. And that's how, like, in the last year and a bit, I've really pushed that into my life, is like, like someone being an asshole or something is like, like maybe they're just having a bad day or something happened to them, like
Yeah,
maybe someone died in their life,
yeah,
or someone comes ripping by you and cuts you off and they're in a hurry or something, instead of like saying, hey, fuck you, asshole, or something like that, maybe sit back and be like, maybe something's actually happening to them. I mean, it doesn't excuse, like we said, what happens, but you got to really look at the bigger picture. Everybody in this world, you walk outside, you look at everybody, everybody's going through fucking something. I don't care how much money you have in this world, you're going through something. Everybody goes through something. Everybody
yeah,
has a story, and everybody is going through something. And we're all just trying to put a smile on our face and live this fucking crazy life. It's crazy. We're
yeah.
just trying to get through it together, man.
And when it's people that you don't personally know and you think that this person is, like, insulting me and they're coming at me, no, they don't know you enough for it to be personal.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
Like,
tell you this, Ben, and I'm actually going to make a podcast about this pretty soon, but I've been getting attacked like crazy. I actually just got attacked last night on Facebook. So my fiance passed away, right? And this person, I've never even met this person before. Never. I don't even know. Like, I've never even heard Jules is my fiance's name. I never even heard her even mention this lady's name before. So she comments on Jules's birthday post I did 2 years ago, and she says, "Oh yeah, I bet you just liked her for her generosity. I bet you're missing her wealth or something like that. I don't know, just very ignorant." And on a birthday post at all, you know what I mean? Like, and you're her friend,
yeah,
and you're trying to, and it's just disgusting. And then so she deletes it, and then she starts inboxing me and all this stuff. She thinks that, to the point, she thinks that I'm the one that gave fentanyl to Jules. Like, I was at home with my daughter when all this happened. I didn't even know what was going on, right? And she's just trying to make it, right? And it's disgusting, man. It really disgusting. And to me, all I see that is someone hurting, that has undealt trauma, and they just
yeah.
need to, they're projecting, right? At the end of the day, they're projecting. And I'm going to do a whole podcast about this stuff, because I've been getting attacked on a bunch of other things, and it's going to show, like, things like this destroy people, like the things that people say and all this. But anyways, this is going to be for another podcast. I don't
I
want to go
believe
too
that,
much into it, but
because although I've never been through something of that severity, I have dealt with things of people making, like, videos about me or sending me
yeah,
some, like, really crazy insulting messages.
yeah,
And I think a big reason why people tend to do that is a combination of, like you said, their own unresolved traumas and
exactly.
just looking for someone to go after. But
It's
also,
attention, right?
some people genuinely don't like it when other people are happy
Yeah.
because
Oh
it
yeah.
reminds them of what they don't have.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
when people meet me, and it's not something that they say out loud, but I can tell when it happens. Where they see me and they're like, this guy is content with his life. And it upsets them. Like, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a fancy watch, he doesn't have a crazy amount of money, he doesn't have all these shiny things, yet somehow this guy is happy. And it makes them mad.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're doing something such as running your own podcast, or you are just living your own life, enjoying it, people will go after that because it reminds them that he's happy and I'm not.
Well, misery loves company, right? And they want to bring you down
Yeah.
with them usually. Like it got so disgusting though, man. It was crazy. Like this one guy, he's actually in the Canadian Armed Forces. I actually sent a 28 letter page of like a whole bunch of stuff that he was saying into the Canadian Armed Forces because it's disgusting what he's saying. He's like, no wonder why your ex killed herself. If I was with you, I'd kill myself too. He was saying shit about my daughter. Like huge. It was just disgusting. Calling me names over some stuff. There's a mob like mentality right now, and it's pretty. I'm like I said, I'm doing a whole podcast about it, anyways, and I just think it's disgusting how people treat other people. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild to me. This person doesn't even know me. You know what I mean?
It's like, I don't
That's
know,
the crazy
happiness
part, man.
and enjoying your own life puts a target on your back.
Yeah, yeah. It is what it is though. I mean, it's okay. I'm so free with myself. I live free. I'm happy with myself. I don't care who the fuck anybody is. I don't care what they think of me. They're not coming to my birthday party, so I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life, man. I'm like, they're just words. Like, yeah, some of them are horrible, and I'm gonna make him like like I said, I sent it in. He's gonna pay his price because you're supposed to be in the army, and this is how you treat your civilians that you're supposed to protect and shit like that, right? It's just disgusting. But anyways, man,
Yes, it
enough
is.
about that bullshit. I'm not gonna entertain that. I got a whole podcast I'm gonna entertain that with. But I do want to say, man, when like all the applause stops, the audience leaves, and you're all alone with yourself, who is Lawrence still trying to become?
I would probably say the best answer to that is becoming more aware of what I'm truly capable of. So I actually spend the vast majority of my day completely by myself, whether it's working on my business or out fishing. The vast majority of my time is spent completely alone. And when nobody's around and nobody's clapping and cheering, I'm clapping and cheering for myself.
Hell yeah,
Like
brother.
when I'm writing a book, there are times when I'll be typing something out and then I genuinely am just like, I just said that? Like, I'm my own biggest hype man.
That's
Or I'm
awesome,
out
man.
fishing and I'll be thinking about it would be pretty nice to have somebody out here with me, but I don't need it. I might
Mhm.
want it, but I don't need it.
Mhm.
And when I'm just going to bed at night or I'm just taking a walk, I'm thinking about how, as much as I may want these shiny things like the car, the girlfriend, the big house, all these things, I don't need it because within me, and people can interpret this however they want it, at our core, we are all children of some higher power, some God,
Mhm.
some universe, spirit, evolution, divine order. People have a million and one names for it. But when you become aware that there is a bigger picture to all of this, it makes you reminded that I'm not just a drop in the ocean. I'm the ocean in a drop. That's a quote from
I
an
like that.
Indian philosopher.
I like that. I'm the ocean in the drop. That's cool, man. Really
Yeah, you're
cool.
like the ocean in a drop and a drop in the ocean
In the
all at
ocean.
once. So
Hell
like
yeah.
you're the main character of your show and other
100%.
people are the main character of their show. And it doesn't mean that they're lower than you or you're higher than them. It means that we are all playing the game at different speeds.
Well, and here's another thing though. Sometimes you are the main character in that other person's life, and sometimes that other person is the main character in your life in
Yeah.
certain situations, you know? And I'm not saying
And
like in any bad way or not, but I mean like I mean, when you're getting married, man, and your wife, that's your main character. You know what I mean? That you guys have two main characters, I guess, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the way
You get what I'm
the way I'd like to think about it is like this. So people, because I was thinking about this earlier on how, people say like, this person is my world. I can't live without you. You complete me. These are beautiful romantic statements, but they're also very on the line of codependent,
Mm-hmm.
where this person is your world. Like, you can't live without them. There's a fine line there that I want people to be aware of, where
Yes.
it's that, okay, you can have someone like your wife, very, very special, wonderful, you love them, and it's very beautiful. But also, you have to love yourself. So it's not to put someone above you in, like, this person is the solution to all my problems. Like, they're not your God.
Like a pedestal.
Yeah, because, like, when you make someone your God, that's when you are, those relationships where you'll see someone who, like, they're getting cheated on 5 times, 10 times, they're getting hands put on them, and they're like, I can't leave. No one's forcing you to stay. No, I can't leave because I feel like if I break up with them, my life is incomplete.
Yeah.
That's what happens when someone is your world. They can be the moon. They can be a planet in your solar system. They can be a star in the sky. But if they're the sun and your life revolves around them, that can get very bad very fast. I just wanted to make sure people understood the distinction.
100%, man. 100%, brother. 100%. One last time, if you can, because we're getting at the end of the show here, if you can send out all your links again, like tell people where they can reach you, and I'll put them up on the screen for you.
So for people looking to, get my content, my YouTube, my TikTok, my Instagrams, all that good stuff, Lawrence C. Empowers. It's the same on all platforms. If you're looking for my books, products, or one-on-one coaching, lawrenceharris.com. And if you are looking for, to contact me directly for podcast bookings or speaking engagements, you can contact me at either my LinkedIn or lawrence@lawrencecharris.com.
And all those will be in the bio as well, so you'll get to check out those. Well, brother, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I really was excited to have this conversation with you. The first time I met you, I was impressed. I've been watching your videos since, man, and I'm still impressed. And you're gonna do great things, brother. You really are. I just keep on getting goosebumps because I can feel it for you, man. So, and I wanted to say also, anytime you want to come back, man, you got some new shit on the go, or you want to just shoot the shit about stuff, man, you're more than welcome to come back. You're part of the family, brother. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Well, everybody, we will see you next week, same time, and take it easy. Be good or be good at it.
Minds. Men's Mental Health. Hosted by Erick. Follow, subscribe, like, share. For the ones we never meet, you're not alone.